Ninjas, how are you doing? It's a girl, Owamie, aka Miss Fearful, collaborating back for all entertainment. If it's the first time joining me, most definitely welcome. Please do make sure that I subscribe to say hit the bell. I absolutely love you. Now, my ninjas, you guys know Mupandi Studios. We can shoot, edit, upload, do thumbnails, every single thing for you. And all you have to do is just come, shoot, and go home. Of course, pay us, But anyway, today I'm gonna go ahead and do this sit down, which I feel like will be very controversial, and I am going to tell you guys exactly where this whole issue with me and Promise Makunyane started. I hope that you guys will be able to fully understand like what has been going on, because I do know that I've got new ninjas and I don't want you guys to look at me and just think, oh, why would you be, so yeah, if you are interested in just finding out where this whole beef, which I wouldn't really even call beef, chicken, started, and I will be doing my makeup because I am about to go out, which I'm extremely late already. So I will be zooming you guys in, and let's start. Okay guys, so let's get into this makeup. The first thing that I'm gonna do is prime my face, obviously. So okay, I really truly just felt like, you know what, let me go ahead and talk to my ninjas. And guys, I'm not really gonna be like telling you this is the product that I'm using because I want the story to go by quick. I do need to go somewhere, and so I do wanna I don't wanna be late, honestly. If not for editing, you guys are probably gonna get this story tonight, but I know that editing is gonna take a lot of time, especially because I do wanna like beg it up, I want to beg what I'm saying up, and that will take a lot of time to take these videos and put them in and everything like that. So I had already started with my eyebrows, right? So today, what is on the table? Let us talk about Mrs. Promise Makunyane, Mrs. Law herself, So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys that I met Mrs. Law, or Promise. I'm gonna call her Promise. I met Promise for the first time, obviously social media. I've never met her face to face, but I knew her way back before a lot of you guys knew her, because she was on YouTube and her YouTube channel wasn't like blowing like that, she wasn't getting the fame, I would say, because now she does have that TikTok fame, right? But I obviously, with YouTube, you guys know Udala, we have been pushing God's grace and ninjas forever there. So she did contact me. When she contacted me, she wanted advice on how to grow her channel, which, if you know me back then, I never even used to charge people for me to help you with your channel. I never used to. I used to do it for free. And I don't remember, but at that time, I think I had started charging, but I never charged her, I honestly truly can't fully remember like what ended up happening there, but we did even have each other's phone numbers and stuff like that. So I used to see her statuses up until later on, where I actually blocked her from WhatsApp, right? So with that, honestly, I really truly cannot remember, but I do remember actually like showing her profile to my ex, because I was still married then. It was before my ex had even cheated on me, so I can't remember, man. Was it before or after? I can't remember, but I do remember that I think she contacted me. It might be 2019. I think I was still happily married, because I do remember actually like showing my ex her profile and being like, oh, there's this lady that is asking for advice, this and that and that and that. He wasn't never really anybody that was interested in my craft, like I'm talking about my ex. So we didn't really go too deep into that. And I think I just asked myself for, because on one of her videos, when she was talking about interviewing my ex, which was still going to get into that, she did say that he was a bit hesitant because he was asking himself, is it a setup? Since he thought me and her were friends, it's because I'm sure to him, this is Owamie. This is somebody that has helped you before for free. Like, why would you want to do that? So I'm sure that's why maybe he had thought that we were friends. But I'm sure what made him more comfortable was that she got introduced to him basically, or this whole thing was basically done with this girl that I'm gonna go ahead and just call her a loser, who has been struggling for years with YouTube, and she tried to use my name, but things didn't go well. We're not gonna get into that because today we want to strictly focus on Promise Makunyane. So I obviously go through my divorce. I'm going through divorce. 2021 was quite tough. I mean, 2020 was tough. Like 2020 was tough. Like, guys, I was literally fighting for my life. 2020 was horrible, and this is now the cheating, finding out I had fibroids, having to make this huge decision, do I get the operation or not, and this and that and that. So it was quite a lot. And then 2021, I obviously had now walked away. So now girl has to navigate life by herself. And I wasn't really paying too much attention to a lot of stuff. In all honesty, I think our mind protects us in terms of the things that we remember and the things that we don't. And my timeline kind of blends because of the trauma that I honestly faced in that marriage at the end and everything that happened afterwards. So I can't really tell you a lot when it comes to time frame with certain stuff. So I can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022 when I came across her TikTok, because I only started TikTok 2021. So I did come to TikTok a little bit later than others. When I got there, that's when I got to meet people like Madam Speaker. I didn't know her. And I was quite impressed with the fact that like Promise had a lot of followers. She had a lot of followers at that time. I think, if I'm not too mistaken, she was already at like maybe almost 100,000 when I joined TikTok. I just don't remember fully, or when I got to know about her. So I don't even remember exactly when, but I just remember that when I went there, I was like, damn, like she has a lot of followers. And of course, as someone who I had knew before, and I knew how much she wanted people to follow her, I knew how much she wanted to grow a platform. I was really happy for her, I really honestly was. And so, okay, I go there and I'm looking at her content. I will not lie, I was quite shocked. And I was just quite shocked at the things that she would post, like in terms of the stance that she has when it comes to marriage. For me, it was like that thing of, oh, okay. I just felt like it was a bit outdated in terms of, I felt like she was someone that actually definitely ran with that whole thing that older people would tell you about marriage, this and that. And I literally was just so shocked at the fact that it seemed almost as if God really didn't have an identity out of her marriage, And as someone that was going through a divorce, and I'd worked so much with my social media platforms, I just couldn't imagine, imagine if I'd built my whole entire platform around my ex, like how would that even be? And I think when you're going through a divorce, this is something that only divorcees can understand. Not like I'm trying to be whatever, but I'm telling you guys, a divorce kills something in you. Something in you literally dies, because it's like that whole trust that you have in men and stuff like that. Like, it's quite tough, and especially when you're newly out of divorce, like, there's a lot of stuff that basically happened. Like you just, I feel like I don't think you can go through a divorce and still look at life and love the same way. I just don't think so, unless if maybe you had like a very peaceful divorce, which that is not the story for majority of us. So one thing about Promise Makunyane that I started to realize was the fact that she was very, very passionate about marriage, which obviously that is good. I also at one point, I was very passionate about marriage. I was very passionate about people being in happy marriages. I've never actually made it a thing, but I even had like a series called The Good Wife, if I'm not too mistaken, and it was all about like, just talking about different stuff. Let's not even get into that because but anyway, to just show you guys that I too was someone that was very passionate about just marriages, happy marriages, and this and that and that. And I think she also shared the same sentiments on, we should shine light into good marriages and okay, cool. That was fine. So now for me, I think the thing that I started to see almost as a red flag, honestly, was the fact that no matter how much Promise is into marriage content, she was also a little bit very obsessed, in my opinion, about divorcees and divorced content. She went to a point where I remember there was a video, because I did actually have to sit down and go all the way back in her videos with my fake account. All the way back to 2022, because this is when it was the height of it. And I honestly was just like, oh my goodness, she was actually, for me, a little bit obsessed with divorcees.
Morning guys, happy Saturday. Today I'm coming with an installment of Divorced Women.
Guys, keep it got many women all divorced, saying that since I left that marriage I'm looking good.
It's almost as if we would rather hear, see and engage with the divorce content than we want to engage with the marital content. Bo rich auntie, bo independent women, bo career women, ba be monna bohlokwa se. So guys, this is a continuation on the video I made around divorced wives
and the content that they actually posted. Now, it went on to a point where I felt like she would actually get to a point where she almost made it seem like, when a divorcee says, yo guys, this and that, now I left, there's this and that. It was almost like divorcees basically were telling people to leave their marriages, and that was literally not the case. I remember there's even another video of hers where I went through the comments, because her comments are off right now, but the comments that have been commented before are still there, so you can still access those comments and read. And somebody actually answered her to say, but divorcees are not really saying that you guys should leave your marriages. Divorcees are only just talking about their experiences about marriage. So she just felt like, maybe I feel like that's how she felt, like as divorcees we were basically trying to promote divorce. I don't understand, because literally majority of us were just telling and living our reality at that time. Now, let me tell you something about Promise Makunyane. Promise Makunyane, at times, I felt she spoke like a fool. And you would actually, there are times where I would look at it and I'm like, nah, I think she's just talking from a point of lack of information, because these are some of the stuff that she has never really maybe experienced. Now, mind you guys, as I said, I didn't know Promise like that, and after we spoke again, I don't remember exactly what happened. We didn't communicate again, but we still had each other in our statuses and stuff, and she was just pushing her YouTube and everything. So at that time, I did not know anything about Promise, in terms of her marriage or what would be happening inside her marriage. Okay, so I was just someone that was a blind follower. She would like to ask questions. She used to call herself the conversation. I'm a conversation starter, something like that. And then she would just talk about this stuff, ask questions that sometimes you'd look at and you're just like, One of the questions that she actually asked was when she was talking about how she sees real divorced women. They talk about self-love, they talk about bathing, they talk about this. Why can't you do that when you're in your marriage?
So now this brings me to this question. Kanti, king in trading and worry. But Baska hlapa ka molenyalong, ke eng ntho ne o le o ska hlapa ka molenyalong, o ska look good, o ska di out, o ska di a chelete hona ka molenyalong.
Now, as somebody that, maybe perhaps you would just be looking at this situation as is, you would think that, oh, okay, she's just talking about that. But if you go deeper, for me, it came off almost as if it was like, why wouldn't you give yourself the same love when you are in that marriage? And perhaps maybe that marriage would have worked. Those are the vibes that I kind of got, even though I'm not saying that's what she said, right? And I hope that you guys hear me. So I'm just giving an example of that video. And I did get to a point where I really just wouldn't reply to her stuff, because she would make it open that anybody can, stage, reply, or talk about this. She's a conversation starter, so she's starting these conversations and stuff. She definitely like had this habit of, I personally feel like Promise is somebody that is a classist. Like, I felt like she was someone that was a classist. This is the vibes that I got from her. She's not only just a classist. I feel like at that time especially, she was somebody that liked to class certain things. Like, oh, baby mamas definitely were bottom of the barrel. I felt, and then in comes single women, and then after that, obviously, oh no, oh yeah, I would say probably baby mamas and divorced women were definitely down there together, and then single women, and then married women. But married women to her were definitely top tier. She's somebody that her outlook when it comes to marriage was something that, for me, honestly, I won't lie, it was super, super, super shocking. As I've said, even when I went to TikTok and I saw that, wow, those were the stands that she actually had, I was quite shocked. I won't lie, because I'm like, yo, girl, really? In 2022, even though it was 2022, in 2022, you are going to send keketsa yourself with a man. You are going to build your brand around this and stuff. But obviously, that's something that she wanted to do. For me, she did come off a bit offensive whenever it came to certain stuff. And again, as I'm saying, the way that I felt like she was very condescending. If you did not have marriage, or you didn't have my husband this, my husband that, it was almost like maybe it's like you are not happy where you are. And whenever she would talk about divorced women, the vibes that I got, especially divorced women who actually talk about divorce, the vibes that I got were, it's like almost like you wish you were still divorced to the same people or something like that. Like, for me, those were just the vibes that I would get. Now, she would have followers, I won't lie, they are just like her. No offense, they're just like her. Like, listen, the followers that she have, shame, those are like her people. Like, I will not even lie. She got her perfect follower, because you would go through the comment section and like, some of the stuff here, you guys won't even try even hold her accountable for all these things that obviously she's actually saying here. And I feel like her content was kind of rage bait, and it worked because she got a lot of attention. She would be trending here and there. She enjoyed the fame that she was getting 1,000%, and she was very high up on her horses. I remember there was a time where she used to stay in a very beautiful house, like a very, very beautiful house. And well, if I said she used to, it means she ain't there no more. And I remember her stove was actually like in an I don't know if you call it an island, and she made a video talking about what is your stove doing on the wall or something like that, like your stove should not be on the wall, something like that. And I do remember at that time, like, whoa, people definitely came for her. There were people that were offended. I mean, at the end of the day, think about it, guys. Do you think our stoves are on the wall by choice? No. If we also could afford to get those big houses and have our stove in the middle of our kitchen and be able to cook proper, we actually would. I did try to get that video, but I didn't see it. I don't know if maybe she removed it or what. But there is a video that I did get where she was even trying to explain the situation. She claimed that, when she hated it because she grew up in a household where the stove was on the wall.
Hi guys, welcome to my mother's kitchen, the kitchen that brought me up. I want to tell you guys a story. Remember, I made a video, it went viral. People are still using it. I'm still using that audio where I was like,
she even showed us the stove that made her, I guess, hate the stove on the wall and stuff like that. And of course, that's something that actually did go on to pass. As time went, if I'm not too mistaken, our girl ended up having to downgrade from the big house to something smaller, and where she went, it seems like the stove was on the wall, because I remember there was a time where someone commented and they were asking how, and then what happened about the stove on the wall, blah blah blah. So it was again a thing to show you that there were people that were quite hurt by that. The other thing again that I should tell you is that, again, you heard me say that Promise Makunyane's followers, she deserves them, they deserve each other. They were the ones that would actually, like, when I tell you guys that they would put her into just one fight after another, anybody that would actually say anything that is not positive about marriage, they would try tag her and make it seem almost like, you know, the person was like talking about Promise. And it's like, girl, you're not the only one that is married, you're not the only one that has ever been married, you're not the only one that has a right to have an opinion, like literally, because she would actually go there, even though her name is not even mentioned and people are just talking on their own knowledge and experiences. She would go in there and comment. And I'll give you an example. Queen Lee was just talking about this whole thing of my husband this, my husband that. And at that time, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember Promise had started the my husband this, my husband that brand. I don't know between Queen Lee and Promise who actually came up with my husband this, my husband that. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, she might have taken it because of how the whole thing went, because they had a huge public fight. It was lives after lives. She ended up even saying that she was gonna sue because Queen Lee actually came with some information that was not nice, you understand. But before then, there was a video of Promise that I had actually staged, and I had innocently staged it, where she was talking about why is it that divorce content, she was talking about Enhlembali's situation, the time that Enhlembali, they found out that she was dating a married man, this and that, and she was talking something about divorce, whatever. So I obviously staged that video, and I was talking about something that went into infidelity, right, like cheating in marriage and stuff like that. And I honestly, I was like, you know, Promise reminds me of me, the time before I had actually found out, you understand, that my ex was cheating. And it wasn't a lie, shame. And for me, because this is Madam Conversation Starter, I didn't see anything wrong with it, you understand. It's not like I was gossiping the girl. I do personally believe that we can have difference in opinions when it comes to certain stuff, as long as we can keep it respectful. Okay, I didn't insult her, mind you. I did not insult her, but she was very insulted that I would say that, like, you know, she reminds me of me, the time that I was still happily married before I found out. And now looking back, I do understand, because I'm sure it was a trigger since she is married, or I don't know if with the allegations she's going through a divorce, but anyway, at that time she was married to a man who was a cheater. But I didn't know that, you understand? So I really didn't understand how. When did this whole thing move from this to that? I remember I even made a video. I was like, "Go, I'm sorry if you're offended, but I didn't mean it that way, this and that and that." And obviously that was something that went on to pass. Now, there was a day that I woke up, and as I woke up, because this is the time that she was definitely blowing up, you get, I woke up and I was mentioned by this other lady. And as I was mentioned, I look at it and I was mentioned under one of Promise Makunyane's videos. Now, in that video, Promise Makunyane was saying that she has never met anybody that has left their marriage for cheating. And at this time, of course, it was no public knowledge that she's married to a machizo, but we didn't care. Honestly, we didn't. It wasn't that deep for us. Like, or me personally, I don't even want to lie. I didn't care. If you choose to be with a man that cheats on you and dogs you out and does whatever, girl, that's what you believe you deserve, and that's exactly where you are. You're an adult. As long as you're not being forced, I really have nothing to say when it comes to that whole change. You understand? So when she said that, when she said that, somebody actually tagged me and said Owamie did leave her marriage for cheating, and then she now responded to that, claiming that no, Owamie didn't leave her marriage for cheating. Owamie tried to fix things. Big guy was just not coming to the table, something to that effect. And of course, my darling, you're not gonna lie on me, and I am quiet. I responded respectfully, mind you, respectfully, and I said that actually no, I did leave for cheating. If you guys remember, I did do so many story times after the divorce, and I was talking about the stuff that I experienced in that marriage and everything. But did I leave? No. when did I leave? When he cheated. So what was the main reason for me to leave? It was cheating. I left him for cheating. And I think to her, she just never fathomed that there's a woman that would actually say, I'm walking away from marriage because of cheating. Because you cannot argue with me on why I left my marriage and you knew nothing about that. You understand? Okay. That was that, obviously, and then it just continued. Now it was that thing of, oh, she's fighting with almost everybody. At that time, like, honestly, you wake up, you open your internet, it's promise Makunyane this, promise Makunyane that. It's either she's fighting with this person or she's fighting with that person. She's starting this conversation, she's starting that conversation. And the way that she would actually go about her responses and everything, she was very rude. And as I said, she would talk like a fool, because she would not have any door that she would not enter. There was no door that she would not enter, in my personal opinion. That's how I felt, because at that time, I remember there was a whole issue that happened where she made a video claiming that her child, I don't know if that child was 2 or what, but a very young child, that her child only eats grapes from Woolies. It was a whole thing. Again, guys, timeline might be blended because, as I'm saying, my mind, but these are all stuff that happened. So at that time, the whole Woolies thing was a thing, and then she went on to trend again for that, Woolies grapes, what, and then now she was knees deep into my husband this, my husband that. You understand? Now we're moving into the real gaga. Like, girl was like now fully deep. This is now where she now started to launch her brand, which is, I guess, my husband this, my husband that. And I remember she even did sort of like a video, a video was done, like highly produced, and with the video, and don't judge me, guys, I didn't watch my sponge. With the video, if I'm not mistaken, there was even a viewing of that thing, man, a personal viewing, I think. I remember the likes of Sims Right, Hey Girl, they were also invited. It was a thing, and we're just like, wow, like, Sebenza girl, you're making things happen. And so when it came to YouTube and I watched it, I was like, girl, wait a minute, what? If you guys know me, you'll know that I have been in court fighting my dad to support my sisters for a very long time now. I despise fathers that will not support their kids. Like that one, oh. And women that actually encourage that behavior are rubbish. I don't care if you fight with the mother of the child or whatever. If you're married to a man that has a child, that child deserves to be supported, you understand, financially. So in that, the whole thing, honestly, I can't remember if I watched the whole thing, but there's a part where she was sitting with a group of women, and in there she was just dogging out her husband's ex or baby mama. She was dogging her out, like proper dogging her out, making her seem like she was like this hoe, because she came into her husband. Not only her husband went to the girl and they both dated. No, it was a singles affair where that woman just went there, took him, and he had no choice in the matter. He was just forced and he was taken and stuff like that. So now, obviously, okay, fine, those are stuff that maybe you guys do and getting in that all up. But the part that really did trigger me a bit was the part where she said that her husband's child, because he already had a baby mama, so he has 2 baby mamas that we know of. When she married him, this woman that she was busy dogging out, allegedly at that time she was pregnant, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard. I don't remember who actually put this exclusive out, but if I remember well, she was like maybe almost 7 months pregnant or somewhere there. If you remember that whole feud with Queen Lee and stuff, I think you can remember. But it was like months in when Promise married that man, wherein that girl was pregnant for her husband, you understand. So how are you going? Promise then goes on to say, to that child, Oriana, she's not going to support that child, because that woman said, even if you whatever, you are still going to support our kids. And she was like, nah, I'm gonna support my husband's first child. Because of Yana, she had issues with this girl since she decided that no, they're not gonna support that poor little child, innocent soul that came to this earth the same way her kids came to this earth, had no business knowing or what is going to happen, or how, or even a choice in the matter of how they are brought on earth. But now her kids deserve to eat in that house, but another woman's child, just because she was fighting with the mother for the man, should not eat. Of course, that's something that I was so disappointed when I saw her followers not call her out on that in that video. If they did, probably maybe it was something that was just cut off in production. But I was like, that's not the narrative that we're going to fly and have everyone maybe possibly think, or oh, actually this is the right way of living. No, 1,000% not. Promise had so much to talk about. She would talk about divorced women. She would talk about people's situations constantly. So why shouldn't we talk about her situation and she'll say, girl, like when it comes to this, I personally don't agree. So that's exactly what I did. I posted the video and I was like, imagine not holding your own husband accountable, because that man is the one that was actually going out there and doing the deed. You understand? But obviously in that video, she went on to say that no, he said he's not sure whose child that is, because of this girl was also busy with someone's person, like, and then they're like, oh, so this is a thing, and she's like, yeah, this is a thing, like sort of making like her husband's second baby mama is like a hoe or something like that. So now for me, I really didn't care about the baby mama, because I'm just like, girl, that's you guys' fights, but never actually be so bold to be an evil stepmother, because that's evil stepmother vibes, like, in my opinion. Why would you not want your husband to support his other child, meanwhile your kids are in the house being supported? And this child, like, not even that it makes any difference if you are with a cheating man and he impregnates. If you take him back, you better be taking the child back. I'll forever stand on that. You have to be willing, or that child is also gonna be a part of the father's life and is also going to get supported the same way that your kids are also supported. You cannot now say that no, now we'll take the husband, but I don't want the child in journey. How is that supposed to work? Because that child is here because of your husband's actions. You understand? So of course, when I posted that, oh man, that was when I guess war. Sorry for that, but they did end up actually having a meeting. That's when she drove to Friday to interview my ex. Now, let me tell you something. I know there are people that give Probis a lot of credit to be like, oh yeah, she did that. She got the exclusive. She did. She really didn't do much. Let me tell you something. I was married to a very foolish man. I was married to a very foolish man who literally tried to destroy me online. He could talk to a dog. If a dog had a podcast, like, Promise, like, did not do much. Like, for me, she didn't, because it's not like she had to go and convince the guy. No, the guy had been dying. He had been sending this other loser, in my opinion, she is a loser, Shem, voice recordings and stuff. I guess maybe she just couldn't afford to hire a production company and go there, sit down and have a video with him. But she was part of the arrangements and stuff like that, and kind of making my ex feel comfortable, because you can see, Uriah, there was a lot of conversations that actually went down, right? So okay, fine. I didn't know anything about that, that she did go and interview my ex. The day that I found out, it was when everybody also found out, and that was when they were now advertising the podcast. Okay, this is when the podcast is gonna be coming out. And I will not lie to you guys, the stuff that she was talking about there, they were just, I was like, what? She claimed that she wanted to give my ex an opportunity to talk about himself. She felt a different narrative about my ex had to be known online, which means the one that I spoke of was probably should have been a lie. I do not know if she thought I was just lying, but she wanted to clean his image. Like, basically that's what I got, because she did do a follow-up video after the one that she did, which I feel like I did help her launch her podcast career, because that video got her a lot of views and a lot of attention, you understand. And I mean, okay, you got my ex of almost 2 years at that time. No, actually no, because our divorce finalized 2022, so it was just in that year, but we'd been separated for over a year because this guy made it so difficult for that divorce to finalize, you understand. So you're going to interview a man that really he didn't even know who I was anymore. And how I can tell you he didn't even know who I was anymore was, remember, they kept on advertising this, and then they made sure, or she made sure, that it was gonna be aired on the 23rd of August. This is promised now. What is on the 23rd of August? If you follow me, which she has been following me for years, that's why she had actually even asked for advice, is that on the 23rd of August, every single year, I've been very, very public of obviously my struggles with, that's the anniversary of my mother's death. So this time it was going to be a full decade that my mother had passed. So I truly do believe that it was something that was planned, that it should be released on that day, because my ex knew just how devastated I would be each and every year, and this time it was year 10, you understand. But what he didn't know was the fact that I had visited my mother's grave, I had started my healing journey, and I wasn't somebody that would be so bedridden and just in so much pain anymore, you understand. So the plan to try and like just destroy me and finish me was definitely over. There are certain things that I saw that also just did not make sense to me. Like, you are driving all the way to see my ex and talk to my ex so that his image can be actually be cleaned, I guess, or his truth, his version of the story should also be out there. But when you get there, because till today, guys, I've not watched that episode. I've watched the clips that have been posted on TikTok, but I've never sat down and watched the full video. But there was a point where I heard people, I don't know if I saw this or I heard people saying that how, Owamie, did you see that she was even asking him, or how much was the highest that I had ever been paid on YouTube? And he was there, 35,000 rand, which is a lie, by the way. A lie. And when I'm saying it's a lie, it's something that even if I was to go to court, I would prove it. Because bank statements are there, you understand. So for me, it was like, okay. Now the part that actually made me blow a casket was when she brought in my son. You know, you guys know that I am a mom too. So my younger sister's son, who is my baby down to the core, anybody that knows me, that watches me, knows that that is my soul, you understand. They brought him in. They were talking about how now my son was supposed to be aborted. He claims that he's the one that actually stopped the abortion, blah blah blah. That nigga thought that he had so much strength, shame. But anyway, I didn't understand, how does that even tie into him now sharing his side of the divorce? Like, how is my son, that at that time, he's 11 now, so you can count back to 2022, how did you move from wanting to prove someone's side to now asking about my pay, and now also asking about my talking about my son and whatever? And my mom, like, when I tell you guys that I did well by not watching that video, because I would have responded, and I really didn't want to like give it as much attention, especially when I found out that, oh, Kana, that loser was also involved in this. But for me, I really didn't understand. That's when I knew that, oh, this is actually really personal. Now, mind you guys, because of this loser and my ex have been very close, and they've been talking and publishing lies about me, lies like, nah, I had an abortion at the age of 16 and I damaged my womb. Meanwhile, if you ask yourself, when did this loser, this slow nigga meet me? He met me in my 20s. So at what time did I have an abortion that you actually saw? You understand? And I think, or maybe today, let me go ahead and also just tell you guys the truth, because I've been like, I never thought it's something that I would ever actually talk about. But I think, well, you know what, with this video, let me just go ahead and tell you guys everything, right? I was with that man for years, right? And this is TMI. That man's sperm is water. Nance, I swear on my mother's grave, I'm not lying. I am not lying. The reason why I didn't talk about it was because I felt like, I don't know, like I just felt, let me not, I don't know. Even with everything that was still happening, there was a time where I still cared for him as a human being, as an individual. You understand? His sperm is literal water. He was there when after we would do the dude, I would have to put my feet up, because the moment you stand up, everything is out. And even the time that we went to the gynecologist, and the gynecologist asked, like, okay, when do you have a child? And he said no. They were like, okay, we do know that Owamie has fibroids, but we do need to also, like, you know, check you so that we can make sure that you are okay, because women with fibroids, they do conceive. It may make it a bit difficult, but they do conceive all the time, you understand? So if you are saying that you also don't have a child, then we need to actually find out, like, if your sperm is fine. He ran. And this one is not even the first time I'm telling you guys. If you're an OG, you know this. He ran. He didn't go to get checked. And when I remember I asked him, like, what's going on? Are you not gonna be going? Because they had said it was a lab on the other side. He was like, no, it's fine. I feel like I'm white this side. Like, no, I'm fine, I'll come back, blah blah blah. This man never went back. And I remember when we went home, because remember, this is the time before I found out he was cheating. I asked him, like, why? Because I saw fear in his eyes. I asked him, like, okay, why are you scared? And he said, yes, I am scared. I said, no, it's fine. And I remember, like, at that time, I even told him, listen, even if it happens that your sperm is not okay, we will get a sperm donor, and then it will be our secret, and we will raise the children anyhow. The same way that I had already said that if there was an issue with me and my womb, or we couldn't conceive, or I couldn't carry, then I would be able to get a surrogate. Like, for me, I feel like technology is so advanced to a point where if I really want a child, I will have a child one way or another. Do you understand? But obviously, we went into lockdown. I now found out that this man was actually cheating, and I just was not interested anymore. You understand? So with this whole thing that was now happening, where my ex had now told this loser, and they now went on to, I guess, tell Promise that now I was barren, or that I damaged my womb. That's when Promise now made a video talking about how she doesn't know why you would be inserting yourself in women matters, and when we don't even know if you can have a child. And then she said she wanted a receipt of Neskiakaka and stuff like that. And you know, obviously she didn't say my name, but people assumed it was me, you know. And looking at the situation, you would, but I'm not saying she was talking about me clearly, you know. Maybe she was just assuming. I mean, she was talking about someone, maybe, and, you know. But all I'm going to say is that it wasn't the first time that she would say something like that. She also did come for another woman that she knows personally when there was an issue, because, as I said, girl was in blogs, girl was wherever with that my chits were high. And I remember someone had commented, and she knew that person because she claimed she was not the reason, or she was not the person that told Uri she should not give that husband of hers a child, you know. And I remember that lady, she literally, like, left the chat to can maybe show that, yeah, it was something that did actually hurt her. So for me, she was just a very vile individual, you understand, like, in the way that she would actually do things. Now, back to this whole thing of, like, oh, divorce and stuff like that. I know that people, because now there are allegations that girl is going through a divorce. Husband has come out, and when they ask him if he is Promise's husband, he keeps saying no, you know. And of course, everybody's just out there like, girl, what's going on? Is this your husband still? Because the allegations that these two are divorced. And people are like, no, she has never said anything about divorcees. She has never blah blah blah. People are just this and this and that. Her tone and the way that she spoke about divorcees was always very condescending. Always, for me, in my opinion anyway, as a divorcee, yes, her tone and the way that she would talk about us, it was just very much condescending. She would always say statements like, yeah, now she is all about building black homes or black families, happy black families or something, as if us that are divorced were not also interested in building happy families. That's the reason why we left, so that we will meet the right people for us and build those black happy homes, because you can't convince me that you are happy with a cheating man. And I think that is it. And she would forever always also talk about how, people are claiming people are not happy in their marriages, blah 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 blah. But in all honesty, I'm yet to meet a woman that will be like, oh, my husband cheats and I'm so happy about it. That's what I want for him, blah, blah, blah. After she had gotten very attacked, that's when she started to double down, When she went to Scoteni's podcast, she said that she would never leave her husband for cheating. But then when she now went to Lungelo podcast, she claimed her husband is not a serial cheater. Of course, she wouldn't stand for serial cheating. But if he has cheated, she has forgiven, and then she has moved on and stuff like that. Now, there would be allegations in blogs that, her husband is still continuing. But of course, people would be like, no, but with her, we know that Ugo does not mind that whole thing, So I don't think that it is actually a problem. So everything would actually then go on to be like that. Now, one thing about me, guys, I'm not one that can actually sit here and claim that I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm sure I've said things that other people also do not agree with at times. And yeah, because if we agree in everything, then we're fake towards each other. But I think the biggest thing is that just to know and acknowledge and realize that you can actually put your point across without having to bash people. You understand? Without having to bash people. What a divorced woman knows, a divorced woman knows what a married woman knows, and what a divorced woman knows. A married woman only knows what a married woman knows, unless she has gone through a divorce before. So a divorced woman, yes, will talk about marriage from a point of experience, and then also talk about divorce from a point of experience. But a married woman that has never been divorced before cannot talk about divorce from experience, because you've never been. And if a woman that was married before said, yo guys, when I was married, my husband was like this, and now that I'm going through a divorce, this is what happened. I would like for you guys to be careful when it comes to this and this and this. If you are in a happy marriage, stuff like that, then where is the problem when it comes to that? Where is the problem? I don't see any problem. But for some reason, I don't know if Promise had an issue with the fact that other divorcees, I'm just not going to drag people's names here, they were getting a lot of attention with their content. Because I remember there was a time that she even asked, why is it that people gravitate towards divorce content so much, blah, blah, blah. And again, remember, as I said, her followers really deserve her, because shame, IQ, same level. Some of them would actually, I remember like the time that she and I were having a back and forth, some people would be like, you're just jealous or she's married. Nigga, I left a cheating nigga. Sure, he was slow. You think that I will want to jump from one cheating guy to a cheater that is bigger than this one? Aibo. Do you understand? Like, they would always make it seem like, people are jealous, people are this and that, people are that and that. Mind you, Promise would make content that will make you speak. That would make you speak, Shem. Like, she would do content that will make you speak. When it comes to divorces, the way that Ugel, I felt like was just obsessed with us, I did not understand it, Shem. I really, truly did not understand it. And I remember there was a time where I was like, there's an issue here where we have happily married women that are with their husbands and they're living their happy lives. Makunyane and stuff like that. And those are the ones that I feel should be teaching the nation on happy marriages. And then there are those that are with husbands that cheat on them. And I feel there's a market of those that they still that is still not realized. If when you're with a husband that cheats, it means you should be on certain stuff like war prep, right? Because you do know that this nigga one day might actually just go to the wrong one. I think that's just like common knowledge. If you're staying with a cheating man, and now for me, a serial cheater is somebody you have caught more than once. If you've caught your husband cheating twice, he's a serial cheater, shame, and it's something that will, in my personal opinion, feel like continue happening. So I was like, I think women who are with cheating husband, they should also, within their happiness, they should also advise their fellow married women to cheaters, or hey yo, yesterday I just found out this is how I coped, or last month I found out this is how I coped. These are the best ARVs, or these are the best pre what that I'm on, and they work fine, stuff like that. You need to help. Protect yourself from this issue, because we know that most of these married men that cheat, they do not like using condoms, and they don't only just not like using condoms at home, they also don't like using condom outside. You understand? So there was stuff like that. But the moment now I would say something like that, people would think I'm jabbing at Promise. Again, as I'm saying, her followers are the ones that have really put her in a deep hole of just fighting with people unnecessarily, because it was almost like, if you're a woman, you cannot say anything negative about marriage, and Promise is not tagged and she should run and be Cinderella. Or if you say anything that has to do with cheating husbands, then it's about Promise, as if Promise is the only woman that gets cheated on, or that was getting cheated on, or whose husband has multiple baby mamas or has cheated. So it was really something that was just so annoying. Now, obviously, after we blocked each other, I wasn't in her life anymore in terms of social media and stuff. I wouldn't see her stuff. The same way I feel like so this is what would happen, right? After because she blocked me first on TikTok, and then I went and blocked her everywhere. WhatsApp, Instagram, where I blocked her everywhere, because she blocked me on TikTok, but girl was still viewing my stuff. I'm like, we don't do that here. You block me one place, I'll go and block you everywhere. So because she was the one that had blocked me, she would actually do that thing where she would unblock me and then see my stuff and then block me again. And then sometimes I'll be scrolling and the next thing I'm seeing her on my feed, and I'm like, huh? And then what's happening? So stuff like that, you understand? But for the most part, I would say that she and I have been fine, because we blocked each other. Everybody has moved on with their lives. I'm just shocked, she has now rebranded to be a hardworking woman. The same thing that Runavu was saying back in 2022, as a woman, have your own income, don't depend on a man, don't this and this. We were made to feel like, oh, we are not in support.
Bo rich auntie, bo independent women, bo career women, ba be monna bo hlokwa sesi.
Of happy black homes and families. So Promise has done a lot of stuff to a lot of people. Promise has been very disrespectful to a lot of people. Promise has done a lot. Now, I do understand that girl has rebranded. Do I think that her rebrand is legit? 1,000% not. She has been public of the fact that 2024 was the hardest year of her marriage, and she claims that if there was a year she believed she was gonna get a divorce, was 2024. And I think that's the only time that she started now having a bit of compassion and maybe understanding where divorced women come from, because I saw somebody, again, I don't know if it's true or not, because as I said, I've blocked her from my Instagram and stuff, but it seems like, her Christmas message, she was now talking about how she's thinking of recently divorced mummies and their kids, nyere. And I'm like, yeah, Shaya, life is Shaya. Because back then in 2022, again, I felt she spoke with no compassion at all. None whatsoever. You understand? So that interview with my ex-husband was definitely a very low vibrational move that she did. But I really, truly do not blame Promise Makunyane, to that extent. Yeah, I saw a fool, a slow fool. I married a slow fool. I blame myself. Girl, I could have done better with my life, but I didn't. I chose to marry and I stayed with that slow as hell nigga, you understand? And I think that's just one of those stuff that actually really truly do happen. Now I've seen that there are people that didn't understand the timeline of what happened, and I was like, no, let me go ahead and just tell you guys, this is what happened. How did I even get to know of Promise Makunyane? Is because she was coming to me asking for help to grow her YouTube channel, which even today she tried to get people to come to YouTube, but people didn't come like that. So that's why even till today, there's a huge difference between the subscriber numbers and her follower count on TikTok. And so at this point, as I've said, her what do they call this? Her comments are off. So I guess this is something that we are going to. This is something that I feel like is still unveiling, or going on, and we're gonna hear, is she divorced or not, because her husband saying that he's not her man at this point. So that's when we're gonna all obviously hear. Maybe she'll come back and tell us, or is she now divorced or not. But if she is divorced, it will be a very shocking thing, because I can tell you one thing: that girl has been very vocal in just her ways of speaking, and she made being a wife as if it was her whole entire thing, which is not an issue, honestly. I mean, if you're happy and you're in a situation where you're happy, why not? Because it does seem like she was very happy. So I'm just shocked now, or what's happening. Her husband is now in the streets saying Rihanna, he is not her man, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, how tables actually really do turn, you understand? There's no VIP in this life. And I think maybe she should have learned with that whole stove situation, unless if she has gone back to the mansion, which again, as I said, I'm new on her TikTok now because of the scandal that is happening. I will also have to check, because now in Tandum goes, but she's forever in her car. So I'm asking myself, like, girl, what about your house? Like, aren't you there where the stove is not by the wall? I don't understand. So I think maybe she should have learned from that situation, because if honestly this marriage is over, I just know the girl will be having a very tough time, you understand? So let me go ahead and set my face, and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is my final look, and I think that this video could have been better if I wasn't doing my makeup, because I kept losing my train of thoughts. But yeah, for me, Promise did do a lot of stuff, and that's the reason why you find that a lot of people are rejoicing if it is that she's divorced. It's not because people have a problem with people that are divorced or divorcing. I am a divorcee myself, so why would I even have an issue with something like that? But you need to sit down and assess yourself, which maybe she has. Then that's why she has decided to go a different route. But you have never apologized to the people that you have offended with the content that you used to post when you didn't know any better. Do you understand? And I think that's the thing. There's a difference with someone that comes and says, listen, I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I'm going to actually come out and say that, guys, I was wrong when it came to this and this, and I am so sorry if I have hurt you. Because with that message that I saw, because someone just screenshotted it to me, I don't even know if it's there or not, but it showed her name, and it was talking about how, she's thinking of women that are divorced in this time, blah blah blah, newly divorced. And I was like, you definitely have to be going through something right now in order for you to look at that and now have a level of compassion. It means you should be going through something. And when she said that 2024 she was so close to divorce, I was like, now I understand why your tune has now officially changed. You were mean to people, thinking maybe you would never find yourself in that position, because she had told herself that her husband cheating is never gonna have you out of her marriage. But there are other stuff that happen, and it doesn't matter. Like, you don't get a medal of not leaving a cheating man. You don't. So if she's divorced, and she's divorced because of a different reason than cheating, and Owamie that is divorced because of cheating, we're all divorcees if that is the case. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, I will not lie. Am I shocked that the internet, especially TikTok, where she's been the loudest, a majority of people are reacting the way they are reacting to the allegations? 1,000% not. I am not. I'm 1,000% not. I feel like people that will be saying certain stuff, they were not there, or they didn't see the core of it. And there are certain videos that obviously have been removed and everything like that. But yeah, Promise Makunyane. Hi, Shem, I won't lie. Girl, 2022, Nerifila, you had to be somebody that is very, I would say, content with yourself, which thankfully for me I was. So now a lot of stuff that she would say, I would look at it and I'd be like, girl, why are you so interested in divorcees? Like, you're a married woman, preach your happily married content and leave divorcees. But I felt like somehow she felt, because divorcees spoke of marriage, which they were speaking of their own experiences, she somehow had a right to also just constantly be talking about divorces and having these questions for divorces, as if like in J we don't have a right to be followed or have a lot of people engage with our content or this and that and that. And I'm just like, at that time she had made it very known that she's not interested in being a divorcee. So we can't even say maybe she was a married woman contemplating divorce and she wanted to know. That's a different story. But for her, she made it known that I'm not leaving. Now, we did later then find out that her husband was a ladies' man. And maybe some of the content that was being done was for the side chicks and not necessarily us. We do not know. And we also did find out, obviously, that he had baby mamas. I was shocked that he had 2 baby mamas. And that even when she went on to go back to marrying her husband was a boyfriend at the time. He had impregnated a woman who he did tell her. You understand? So she knew. And she did say that this girl, she was after her in terms of like, you know, they were both dating him. So he been cheating on her even before he married her. So clearly cheating was not an issue for her. But I didn't like the fact that she almost wanted to normalize it to the people. That's rubbish. We are never wanna normalize that like our older generation. And of course she was definitely going to get a pushback. She even went to a point of inviting her own father for him to come. And I remember a specific clip where her father was saying that if he meets someone and that person says you should leave your wife, he would leave that person immediately. You'll never be at a point where you would feel like you're better than my wife. But the real question is, if she's not better than your wife, then you should just go ahead and admit that now we're talking about Umdala, so let me put some respect in it.
I'm fallible. I can make mistakes of that.
Yeah.
But there is no position where you are going to say, can you leave your wife because I'm better than what? Immediately you say like that. I'll say, let us forget everything. Let us forget everything, because you are challenging, you are overstepping boundaries. Now you talk about my wife, so that I can declare that my wife is inferior to you.
Yes.
No, leave everything then.
And that's what happens now, Tata, because cheating is a very sensitive topic, especially in our generation. And to me, it's not sensitive. And that's why I can speak about cheating openly.
I don't know how to put it with respect, but you can finish it. You understand? Like, if it's not her, then it's you. And so it was almost like, that's respecting your wife. Respecting your wife is actually not cheating on your wife. And that's the truth. You understand? So I felt like Promise tried to normalize cheating in marriages. And of course, she got a lot of pushback. And I felt like, you know, with all that came a lot of disrespect to us that left for cheating and also other stuff. Nobody, let me tell you something, all of us that are divorcees, at one point, we had family structures with our partners. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I will say this again, no woman gets married to get divorced. Unless if maybe you were in there for money, you just wanted the money and grab and leave. No woman marries to get divorced. I was not the only one who she went and interviewed my ex-husband after being public. Madam Speaker interviewed a woman. She went and interviewed that woman's ex-husband through telephone. I would say like screen or something like that, because he's not even in South Africa. And allegedly, she was talking on some, you know, some people don't know how to do this marriage thing because Bona, they were. I saw this as a comment. I didn't, because I don't watch her stuff. But she was basically talking on some, you know, Yena, she knows when it comes to this marriage thing, because Yena, she was raised by both parents in a marriage. So she knows. So a lot of people, I guess, maybe they are then, they don't know about marriage because they were raised in like single mother households. Meanwhile, I was raised by both parents. My mom died in her marriage. So, and I know a lot of other people whose parents, one either passed or they're even still together and they're divorced. You understand? And there's even, like, guys, kuningi man. Sometimes she would even contradict herself. There was a time that she was actually sitting and she was talking about, she was even almost in tears, guys, on some Yena before she got married. Some wanted to take this thing that would have made it difficult for her to have kids in her marriage, blah blah blah.
You know, every time I look at my kids, I always see how big God is and how God is the only person that has the final say over somebody's life, you know. So back in 2018 when I got married, so in my culture, I'm from the Bedi culture, but my tribe is Bakopa tribe. So Kimrakopa, ne? But my culture is Bedi. So Friday, in our culture, Friday they bring the lobola, like the money and the cows. Saturday it will be a celebration at the bride's house. Sunday it will be a celebration at the groom's house. And so Friday, the 3rd of November 2018, they brought my cows. It was my lobola day. They brought my cows, and after the whole negotiations, they have to slaughter the cows and their festivities begin. So it was when they were slaughtering the cow where I got to learn that there's a part of the cow that your family, the bride's family, need to be there as they slaughter the cow. One man or men should be there to take that part of the cow, and like, I don't know if they bury it or they throw it away, but nobody needs to get hold of that thing except like family members. 4 years later, and I still cry real tears when I really sit down and think about the events, how traumatic that was. I'm just thinking, if had I not had those revelations prior to my wedding, this could be my story where 4 years later I don't have kids, I'm praying to God, I'm going to Guineas, wasting money, and there's this person that is close to me that will just be praying with me or looking at me. Or, you know, I spent most of the night reading the comments on the video I made around what happened on my wedding day, and that almost got me to not have kids. And the comments there, they're making me so sick. They're making me so sick to my stomach, because a lot of women are coming forward saying that this almost happened to me. This is happening to me. This has happened to me.
And I was so disappointed of the fact that this girl, like, I want to say girl now, she's an adult. I mean, even then she wasn't a woman, but she was like, there was like this whole hoo-ha of, will she have kids? Because this man already has 2 kids. And I'm like, girl, the fact that he has 2 baby mamas and he's getting a woman that has no child, like, this man, you're too good for him. Like, at this point, you don't need to be the one that has to feel like, oh, you have to bring whatever to the table. But when she was talking, she was talking about how her kids, this, that, and that, and how she remembers that, Yena, she almost didn't have her kids. When she thinks about this, she even wants to cry. She even almost started this thing where she wanted to support other women that are struggling within, with infertility. But the moment anything arises and you're a woman with no child, whether if it's by choice or not, she goes for the barren route. I was like, you are such a faker. You are a liar. Like, for me, that is you being a liar. If you are somebody that is compassionate, now whether if I have kids or not, trust and believe, I'll never go for another woman's womb. Womanhood, I would never. And I know people, many people that have got kids that will never do something like that. You understand? Because let's say maybe, Lord forbid, it was that I was looking for a child right now and I was unable to, because I did have an abortion at 16. Let's say whatever that slow nigga is saying is true. You as a woman, you would think that's something that you would actually use against me? Like, girl, she really needs to assess herself. Do I think she's a good person? 1,000% not. I don't think Promise Makunyane is a good person. I think life dealt her the cards that she never expected, and now she's forced to have to rebrand. Now she's forced to have to be like, oh, I am for women. Now she's forced to stop doing my husband this, my husband that. Because now, personally, for me, I will not lie, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, where she wants to be is my husband this, my husband that. This whole hardworking woman now and rebranding and all that, it's a persona that I don't believe. Or maybe let me say, because of the promise I know is that promise. Remember, as I said, we've blocked each other. So I've not seen her transition from my husband this to this woman that she is today. You understand? So now I know the promise Makunyane that I know. And so me seeing her here now, I'm just like, girl, I just don't believe Shem. I don't believe. If she was still in that house, if she was still in that house, if she didn't go through whatever she went through in 2024, that made her believe her marriage was about to end. I don't believe this promise that you guys are saying here would be here. So I don't believe you can really change unless if you're forced to change by circumstances. And whatever change that comes with circumstances, the moment the circumstances leave, I feel like you go back to who you really are because you didn't really change. It's the circumstances that are forcing you to be who you are now. And that's personally what I truly just believe. So I've seen some people saying, would there ever be peace between you and Promise Makunyane? There is peace. There is 1,000% peace. I don't have an issue with her. I really don't have an issue with that girl. She's just not somebody that I would associate with. She's just not somebody that I would personally trust. You have to be a vile person to say vile things and just move on with your life as if that is it. And once is a mistake. Second is a character flaw. Third is who you are. And so for me, that's what I truly do believe. That's just who she is. And this whole who she is now, I honestly truly just do not know. But if girl, you is a divorced woman, congratulations. I'm kidding. I can't say congratulations, not her. If it is true, then find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. You understand? But you have done a lot of really shitty things. I don't think I can ever look at Promise Makunyane in a different light than the light that I knew her. You know, that's the girl I blocked, and I do believe that's who she is. But looking at the fact that she's no longer flaunting in that big house, she's no longer this and that, she's now inside a car constantly most of the time and stuff. I know that now she's building her house, but for me, I'm just saying that clearly, and she also says it, or you know, finances, they did go. So I feel like life's challenges are what had to make her the way she is. If this girl goes up, I think the vision that I know is the vision that would actually open the door and come in. So yeah, girl, if you really are going through a divorce, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I hope you are having the worst time. I hope that you are having a very hard time, and whenever that whole divorce marriage or whatever started falling apart, I hope it hit you to the deepest core. I hope you had sleepless nights, and I hope Uriah, you lived in misery for a long time or still are. I really truly just do not care. I'm not one that is gonna say that you know, when you said this about me, you did this about me, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be the bigger person, I'm gonna be a better person. When you come, when you apologize, I'm gonna just say, yeah, it's fine, let's just move on from this. There's this and this. I don't even want her apology. That's where I literally am, because even if she was to apologize for what she said, it's not like she would even mean it. Like, that's personally me, because I feel this woman is disgusting to her core. That's my personal opinion of her and my experience with her. She's very vindictive, and she knows exactly what she is doing. You understand? So for me, you guys can continue being her fans, you guys can continue loving her, you guys can continue following her. It will never ever be me. Yes, right now I know the stuff that are happening because I did go and stalk her account so that I can get videos for you guys, and I went all the way back. Of course, as I was going, I didn't watch every video because she does post a lot, but all I'm saying is that, are you the who you are now because of you have changed, or are you the who you are now because life has showed you flames and Budra, and it has showed you that you are not in any VIP? We are all living in earth or on earth, because that's the question. I don't trust somebody that has to fall first before they change. I trust people that change when they're still up there. So for me, we should see it. But anyway, For me, that is basically what it is. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and comment down below. I saw somebody actually saying that I said something about her kids. That's when she now spoke about the whole Neskaka receipt. And that's something that I actually just wanted to correct right now. So after she had said what she said, and of course it was insinuated to me by people, I actually did say that this is not the first, this is not the second, but you have kids and you had nothing to do with you having those children. And let me say this, the same way that you lay on that bed and have sex, every single woman lies on that bed and have sex. For you to wake up and be pregnant from that bed, it is a blessing from God. Never take that for granted. And I'm saying this to anybody that either has kids or no kids but likes to shame people that have no children. You have nothing to do with it. You understand? There are people who are going through IVF processes. They even have to go through surrogacy routes, and they have to do this and they have to do that. You had nothing to do with it. It's just a matter of God blessed you. It's your blessings and we're happy for them. But when you now take the blessings that God gave you to shame and use them to shame other women that do not have that you have, if anything happens and God decides to take those children, what are you going to say? That's what I was simply saying. You do not have a lock to your children's life. And that is the truth. It's a fact. And if anybody says anyway, and you're like, you can call me evil or whatever, it's a fact. Nobody has a lock. It's like someone that will come to me and say, yeah, your mother is dead. Yeah, I'll be like, I hope your mother follows soon. Because you think if I had a choice, I wouldn't have my mother alive. And for me, I think one of the things that I won't lie, right, that this loser and promise as women that both have kids have really hurt me. I'm not even going to get emotional. Is the fact that this happened when I was in my lowest. It wasn't now where I'm strong, like I'm emotionally strong, I'm emotionally stable. No, it was the time that I was having a hard time. You know, the realization of seeing a man you believed loved you, like, turn to be an enemy of yours. And then that these two women that he's using publicly to shame me of something that none of them have proved. I want big guy to go and have a sperm test and bring that sperm here. That test, he can. I can go to a gynecologist and come back. Like, that's it. You understand? But even if it was a matter of I was not okay, as women, you both have children. Would you guys really, did you sit down and really think that was a thing that we can use to shame Owamie? Mind you, 2023, because this whole thing started 2022, 2023, that is when she actually had the interview with my ex, right? I was at a point where it did take me time to process everything. Sorry, it did take me time to process everything. And one of the other things is that when you're dealing with a narcissist, they know how to manipulate everyone. They know how to manipulate everyone. Their power sometimes, a lot of time, comes from how people perceive you. So with him, the thing I suspect is that he thought I was going to tell the public the truth about his sperm. It's water. He probably thought I was. And I was never ever going to go that low. I was never ever going to. Like, I was never. And let me tell you something. I think something happened to that guy when he was young. Because his aunt said a statement that I even till today, unfortunately she passed away, and she said it in front of us. When I was misdiagnosed and they told me that, hey, my womb has a problem, blah, blah, blah. We went to aunt and I was crying because I was like, I'm the problem here. You understand? And auntie said, let me tell you a story. She told us a story of a woman who was married. And she was called barren. She couldn't have kids. The husband now started joining in with the family, abusing her. She left. The moment she left, she got there, and this guy immediately got another wife because he was already. It seems like he was already seeing someone else. Or she needs to come in and give a baby. So that's when she packed her bags and she left. The new wife that walked in doesn't have kids. But her that left, she got another man. She had 4 kids at that time. And then I remember auntie saying, you guys should stick together because this life is unpredictable. You will never know. For me, since that day, it eased me or no. She can't just say something like that. I think maybe there's something that she actually knows. Maybe there's something that happened to him when he was young. I really, truly just do not know. But till today, that guy really wanted a child. Till today, it's been 5 years since I left almost, right? I've not heard anything of him having a child. I've not heard anything of him having a child. So I guess, or maybe even the one that he met is barren. You understand? Now for me, I have my own things, guys. Like, I'm not ready for kids, and there will be a time maybe where I'm ready, but I just will not get forced. But the part that I want to say or actually really did hurt me was the fact that I started to feel pressure because I was not in my normal. You understand? I started to feel pressure, like, oh my gosh, should I just have a child? Like, should I? Because, like, even till today, like, if anybody is arguing with me, they throw the whole thing of, at least I can have kids, or this and this and that. You guys don't know the half of what I've had to deal with this whole situation that actually happened. I remember there was this guy that we were talking, right? And now, honestly, like, I wasn't ready for a relationship. Like, I really wasn't. And I remember, like, he got pissed because I think he wanted us to meet, and I was just like, no, what? And he was like, look at me, like, trying to understand your situation. I'm here trying to love you, even though you can't even have kids, but this and this. And guys, I was so hurt. And not even for this fool, because obviously cut him off immediately. But for me, it was like, wow, like, okay. So no matter how much or whatever I say, people will really not believe me because he made enough noise, and the noise he made was with 2 women who could sit in their chairs and talk about my womb and talk about me not being able to have kids, you know, and like however, wherever, it be that. And again, as I'm saying with Promise, she didn't say my name, right? But again, I didn't watch that interview. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that made it to the interview because I didn't watch it. I just was not emotionally ready to do that. And also looking at the fact that it was done on my mother's 10th year anniversary of death. Yeah, you can just imagine, like, literally how I felt. So if they would say there are people I do not like, it would be Promise Makunyane and this loser that I refuse to even say her name because she's not worth, like, her name is not even worth coming out of my mouth. But all I'm going to go ahead and say is that if she ever comes out here and confirms or she's divorced, I will throw a divorce party on her behalf. And I better not see anybody come out here and say, hey, Owamie, no. I do not, because the nights that I cried on my bed, the things I've had to deal with privately that came from her sitting down with my ex that she claimed to, from just meeting him and seeing him for that small time. She saw a good guy. Yeah, not this thing of narcissist, but she didn't see it from a guy. And I was looking at her and I was like, girl, you really think you know a man I've been with for 9 years better than me? In 2 hours or 3 hours that you sat down with the guy and you saw him? It had nothing to do with anything. You were just being malicious, and you forgot this life is a wheel. It turns. Doesn't stay one place, Kaluku. It's a wheel. This is life from Dakabao. I'm not even done. Things I'm late, but this is where I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video. If you are somebody that is out there, and whenever you have something that others don't, you choose to down them. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. It's a will. Okay? But anyway, ninjas, from Owamie Nature, I love you guys. Stay blessed. If you look at me and you think I'm evil, that is good. If you look at me and you think I'm not, that is great. But at the end of the day, I will do what satisfies me and my feelings. And with this whole thing happening, it has just brought out old wounds. The difference is I'm stronger now emotionally. I am able to deal with Chende like this now, you know. So trust and believe. Let's go ahead and fetch Miss Fairfoko. Let's come back here. Haribone he ufella guy. Anyway, girl, I hope you really are still married, because if you are not, if you're actually divorced, if you're actually like me, oh yeah, girl, and your husband is denying you in public, just so you know, in case you didn't. Bye.